Hey boo! It's Esperanza and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am bringing you guys a sunset halo eye, perfect in time for fall. To start the eye look, we're going to start with priming our eyes, and I'm using the P. Louise base in the shade Rumor 02. It is literally the best eye primer ever. It changes your makeup for real, for real. The eyeshadows come out so pigmented, they blend so much easier, it's just a staple. Most of the eye look today, I'm using the palette 3503 Fierce by Nature, and I'm taking that on a Morphe M508, and I always go in with the darkest shade first, and during this time I look at my other eye and I try to make sure they are leveled. And I like this brush because it is very dense, so it picks up a lot of color, and it's very thin, so you can really sketch out where you want your shadows to be. Working in small sections, I'm going into the inner corner all the way to the outer corner, and then I'm going to go back and forth and really build up my pigment. Going into the shadow next to it with the Morphe M213, and I'm applying the eyeshadow just like we did before in windshield wiping motions. Some blending tips I can give you is to make sure the second shadow is basically overlaid on the first shadow. Make sure you take your time. Don't worry about how it looks the first time, because the first time you always do your makeup is a draft. In the planning phase, you're worried about sketching and building up your color. Now that you got those done, I'm taking this orange shade, and I'm using the Morphe E36. This is more of a pointed tipped brush. I'm going to do windshield wiping motions and little circling as well. Work in tiny areas. Don't go all crazy all over the eye. Just work in little tiny sections like me. You will just have a lot more control over the eye look, and that's really what you want. So because we're getting more higher up and more close to the blending out shades, I'm going to be using a medium hand. Now I'm taking the 35D Desert Bouquet palette, and I'm using the shade All Star. Oh, All Sun. And I'm taking this on a Morphe M506, and I'm lightly going back and forth to give it out that smoked effect. Because I really want it to be blended out, grab the tip of the brush with a light hand. You don't want to try to give out a smoked effect and be grabbing really hard on the brush, because it would just be really, really dark yellow. So just be very, very light with it. Once you are done with the yellow, you can see how the blend is going to look, and it looks beautiful. I cannot wait to finish it. Once you are done with that, you're going to take the same exact brushes on the same exact shadows, same exact style. Everything we just did, you are going to repeat. Just remember to take your time, and when you start with the darkest shadow, use more force at the tip of the brush. When you get to the medium shadows, use a medium brush, and when you get to the lighter shadows, use the light tip of the brush. Basically need our second coat, because once you keep blending over and over, the eyeshadows are going to fall on the other eyeshadows, and you're not going to see the brown. It's kind of like nail polish. The second coat is just spot diggity. I don't even know what I just said. Okay, now I'm taking a flat brush, and I'm using that first flat brush we used. Then for the outer corner, I'm using the Morphe M433, and I'm taking that brown shadow first. Now the tip I can give you guys for this, which I wish I knew this sooner, but your shadow should match up with your eye. Meaning the outer corner shadow should end up stopping at the outer edge of your eye, and then the inner corner shadow should stop in the inner part of your eye, because anywhere from your eye above is for the other shadow. Like, does that make any sense? Like, your eye is the spotlight of your eyeshadow. I honestly would just pick a random place in the middle of my eye, and it looked kind of funky, and I just never knew it was supposed to match with your eye. Now that we're done with the brown, now I'm taking the second shadow we placed. Now for the inner corner, use the smallest flat brush you have, because it is very, very, very tiny. Now remember, when you are blending, the outer edge of the first shadow should be blended with the second shadow you were placing. They should be placed on top of each other, as if you're almost combining the two. Once you're done with that, now I'm going to take a Q-tip with some makeup remover and carefully sketch out and clean up my makeup look. Now this is so important with doing any look when you're cleaning it up, because you're going to be going over this with concealer, and this is your base. So if you're cleaning, you can mess up your makeup look any minute, because it is makeup remover, girl. So please be careful, sketch out your makeup look, take your time. Make sure your lines are nice and neat, because that is what's going to make your makeup stand out. Sharper the better, just like your wing. Now taking some concealer on a flat brush. This brush is from Amazon, girl, so if you got brushes from Amazon, it will totally work. Two ways you can cut your crease. You can either stamp it, or you can just glide it really, really slowly. But what I'm doing is I'm stamping it, because I feel like it's just a lot easier to get that nice clean look. And you do have more control over the concealer. Now I'm taking a clean flat brush, and I'm going in and patting the concealer just to set it down in place. The most important tip I can give you here is make sure you really go in between the concealer and that eyeshadow right there and really blend those two out. If you do not, and you place eyeshadow on top of that, you will tell the difference, and it will mess up your whole look. It is so frustrating. Think of like putting eyeshadow on top of like a lump of concealer compared to like a flat road. you will notice it just entirely. So really just make sure it's nice and set. Now that we're done with that, we're going to go back in with the flat brush again and go back in with the red shadow and go over the concealer. We will also be taking the brown shadow again with the same brush and reapply it as well, because the red shadow is kind of taking over the brown right there. You see it? We don't want that. Like, where's the brown? That's why a second coat is needed. Now I'm taking a gold shimmer shade on my fingertips, because shimmer shadows always just apply better with your fingertips. And this is from the Desert Bouquet palette. And now I'm applying that over the concealer. For my brow bone highlight, I'm using the Morphe palette with the white shimmer shade. Now I'm going to be taking some makeup remover on a Q-tip, and I'm going to go clean around my makeup look, make it look nice and clean, and get ready for my face makeup. I'm going to kind of go in a round shape because I still want the round shape. I don't want it to look like I try to do like a winged sharp look. I still want it very roundish. Now that the face makeup is done, now it is time to move on to eyeliner. So I'm using the Wet n Wild Mega Liner, the best drugstore liner ever. And I'm going to do some simple liner because I am going to be doing lashes. So whenever I apply falsies, I always need a simple liner. It just makes your lashes blend in more seamlessly. Especially if you are a beginner to medium, like you still struggle with lashes, applying liner will totally help with that. Not all your problems though. Okay, so for lashes, I'm going to be using my all-time favorite mascara. I always go back to this one. This one is the L'Oreal Telescopic Intense Black Mascara. Oh, that one is like a hallelujah staple. Now I'm taking some Wet n Wild black eyeliner. I'm going to use this in my waterline. For underneath my eyes, I'm using the brown shadow with the small flat brush we first used. And I'm using that to smoke out the black liner. And then for the second shadow, I'm going to go in with the red. And then I'm going to smoke it out with yellow, not orange. Once I smoke it out with the yellow, I'm going to be using the small pointed fluffy brush. More blended out you want your looks to be, the more fluffier you want your brushes to be. Now it's time to curl the lashes, get them prepped for falsies. For falsies, I'm taking these ones. These make your eyelashes look like eyelash extensions. They are just so curly and fluffy. They're just so beautiful. At first, I was a little bit on the fence about them. I was thinking about returning them. Like, I thought they were so ugly looking. But they're literally the best eyelashes I have ever used. Like, oh my goodness. If I could get eyelash extensions like these, girl, sign me up. Now the look is done and we're finished. Let me know what you guys think down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in another video. Bye, guys.